Any confrontation has far less to do with strength or technique than people assume. It's tied to something much deeper: emotional distance. But what exactly is emotional distance supposed to mean? It is the capacity to separate yourself from the emotion you are experiencing. It's the ability to notice your inner reactions without getting swept away or fused with them. Musashi described this state as observing a confrontation from above, like watching a cloud slowly drift across the sky. He did not give in to his anger or fear. He simply witnessed those emotions arise and let them pass naturally. This simple shift, this refusal to identify with the emotion, changes absolutely everything. It sounds simple, yet most of us fall into the same trap every single day. When someone insults you, what is your first instinct? You say, "I am angry." Or even worse, you become the anger itself. You let the emotion consume you until it controls your words, your tone, your decisions, and even your behavior. You turn into a puppet being pulled by invisible emotional strings. Musashi approached this entirely differently. He acknowledged the presence of anger, but he refused to let it dominate him. Instead, he would calmly say, "I am feeling angry right now." That small difference in language builds a clear separation between you and the emotion. And in that subtle space lies your true ability to choose. So, how do you begin using this today? Whenever you notice yourself experiencing strong emotions, during a heated conversation, a disagreement, or even a simple misunderstanding, pause briefly and mentally label what you're feeling. Tell yourself, "I notice that I am feeling frustrated," or "I notice that I am feeling upset." That tiny act of naming the emotion creates distance. And with time, that distance grows, giving you far more control than you ever imagined. The real secret isn't suppressing or denying what you feel. It's refusing to be ruled by it. When you maintain emotional distance during a confrontation, the internal storm begins to settle, and that is the moment when you regain genuine power over the situation. Most people enter confrontations without any sense of what to expect. They react instantly, like a reflex, trying to protect themselves in the heat of the moment. Musashi, however, believed the opposite. To remain calm, you must know the terrain before you step into it. This brings us to the second principle, anticipatory awareness. Musashi referred to it as foreknowledge, the ability to sense an opponent's moves before they occur. It's not mind reading, it's pattern recognition. Because no matter how complicated humans seem, under pressure, they respond in surprisingly predictable ways. Anger follows certain paths. Fear narrows choices. Impatience exposes weaknesses. Before his duels, Musashi would observe his opponents carefully, their posture, their breathing, the way they reacted under stress, and which techniques they favored. Nothing was left to chance. In his famous duel against Sasaki Kajiro, Musashi knew Kajiro was proud, irritable, and wielded a very long sword. So Musashi deliberately arrived late to provoke him, carved a wooden weapon slightly longer than Kajiro's on the way, and defeated him before the actual fight even began. Why? Because he already knew what to expect. How can you use this in your own life? Very easily. Before entering any difficult conversation, pause for just 30 seconds and ask yourself 3 questions. What is this person's likely emotional state? What does this person truly want from this interaction? What are the 3 most predictable reactions they might have? Thinking through these questions prepares your mind. This reduces emotional shock, which is usually what makes us lose balance. When you anticipate reactions, your body doesn't go into panic mode. Instead, it is prepared with clarity and focus. This is something even FBI hostage negotiators rely on. A behavioral psychologist with 2 decades of crisis negotiation experience explains that before any tense exchange, they analyze the person's emotional tendencies, study past behaviors, and map out likely pathways the conversation could take. A Stanford researcher, who studies human emotional patterns, says, when we anticipate someone's reactions, the brain prepares in a completely different way. It is a surprise that triggers panic. Through anticipation, negotiators remain calm, even when the situation is explosive. Anticipation is not about manipulating anyone. It is about understanding the emotional landscape before stepping into it. The more you recognize the emotional patterns of others, the less you are thrown off by them. And in a chaotic world, calmness becomes one of the greatest forms of strength. Musashi also understood that breathing is the bridge between body and mind. He noticed that the moment his opponents felt fear or anger, the first thing that shifted was their breathing pattern. It became shallow, quick, and uneven. That imbalance was a signal of mental instability. Thus came his third principle, strategic breathing. Throughout battles, Musashi didn't just manage his movements, he consciously regulated each breath. He knew that whoever controls their breathing controls their emotional state. This wasn't just a technique, it was a weapon. During his training, he practiced strikes while maintaining deep, steady breathing. Because when the breath is calm, the mind remains clear regardless of the chaos unfolding. Modern science backs this up. Slow, controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of the body responsible for calming and resetting you. A neuroscientist with 15 years in behavioral research explains that controlled breathing is essentially a biological switch. You can shift from high alert to composed in mere seconds. Rapid breathing triggers fight or flight mode, flooding your brain with stress chemicals that cloud judgment. Before a decisive moment, Musashi relied on one powerful technique, a single conscious breath. He inhaled deeply through his nose to a count of 4, held it briefly, and then exhaled slowly through his mouth to a count of 6. This simple rhythm aligned his mind and body, creating a calm center within the storm. You can use the same technique today during a tough meeting, a heated argument, or right before delivering uncomfortable news. Just one intentional breath can soften tension and clear your thinking. Repeat it 2 or 3 times, and the calming effect expands through your entire body. It's like pressing an internal reset button, a reminder that no matter how loud the world becomes, you can create serenity within yourself. For Musashi, this calmness was the root of victory. For us, it can be the foundation of a balanced, powerful life. Now imagine yourself in the middle of a confrontation. Emotions rising, words sharp, pressure intense. Most people react automatically. They want to win, prove a point, or hurt the other person back. But Musashi fought with a different philosophy. He didn't act to feed his ego. He acted with purpose. This gives us the fourth principle, purposeful action. Musashi believed that acting without a clear aim is the same as fighting blind. His opponents entered duels filled with fear, anger, and the need to appear strong. Musashi, however, moved with a defined purpose. He knew exactly what he wanted with every step, every decision. He wrote, "The warrior must not intend to attack first, but remain oriented toward his larger purpose." That clarity protected him from being swept away by emotion. And today, we need this clarity even more. Think about all the arguments you've been in. How often do they start with a real reason, but dissolve into blame, resentment, or past wounds? This happens when the purpose gets lost. Without purpose, everything collapses into chaos. The solution is simple. Before entering any conflict, whether a conversation, a text, or a meeting, ask yourself, what do I truly want from this interaction? Answer in one clean sentence. Something like, I want to resolve this without causing extra hurt. I want to express my point without disrespect. I want to protect my peace. During the confrontation, when the emotional heat rises, mentally return to that purpose. It keeps you centered and stops impulsive reactions. Your actions begin to support your goal instead of serving your ego. And here's the surprising part. Having a purpose doesn't make you cold. It makes your emotions work for something, not against you. This focus transforms confrontation into something constructive. Musashi wasn't calm because he lacked feeling. He was calm because he had direction. When you know what you're fighting for, you decide when to fight and, more importantly, when not to. True strength isn't in winning arguments. It's in rising above them. Musashi realized centuries ago that mastery in conflict isn't about defeating others. It's about mastering yourself. His 4 principles: emotional distance, anticipatory awareness, strategic breathing, and purposeful action are not mere combat techniques. They are pathways to a conscious, steady, liberated life. His teachings go beyond combat or victory. They reflect a philosophy rooted in not clinging to temporary emotions, seeing clearly, and acting with intention. These ideas echo in Buddhism's non-identification with the ego and Taoism's concept of effortless action that aligns with the natural flow of life. Today, we live surrounded by conflict, online debates, traffic, politics, relationships. Everything pushes us to react instantly. But the truly powerful person today is not the one who shouts the loudest or hits the hardest. It's the one who stays composed while everyone else loses control. It's the one who chooses wisely where to invest their energy and where silence becomes the noblest response. When you begin mastering these principles, something remarkable happens. Many conflicts simply vanish because they only existed inside you. And by transforming your inner world, you change how the outer world responds to you. Like Musashi, you stop being someone who merely faces battles. You become someone who transcends them. This is the path not of brute force, but of inner strength. If this message resonates with you, pause and take a slow breath. Remember, real control doesn't come from force, but from awareness. And now tell me, when someone yells at you or challenges you harshly, what happens inside your body? Your muscles tighten. Your heart accelerates. Anger rises. And before you know it, you are caught in the emotional storm. This is the trap Musashi understood deeply. When you let emotions take over, you lose control of the moment, and more importantly, control of yourself. That's why the first principle of winning any confrontation is emotional distance. It's the foundation of every other form of mastery.